Hi, konnichiwa. My name is Asami. What do you think of this character design? It's okay, a little bit boring, unlively. This is my most recent character design. It's frustrating me. Normally, I try to improve this hobby with intense practice and repetition to become a character design master, but that's not jam one way. Instead, let's experiment. Time to jam outside knowledge into my character design and see what happens. In the last episode, I designed the little prince and the fox. Go watch that first if you haven't. Because I'm Japanese, my characters have been always locked into this Japanese manga style, but rather than trying to level up my skills in this field, I'm hoping to do an extreme pivot in this episode and take knowledge from Western character design theory from my college days and from an incredible book and jam it into my true unique master style. This experiment will be super variable. This is the amazing book, Fundamentals of Character Design by 3D Total Publishing, a Christmas gift from my husband. Amazon link is in the description. You should definitely get it. The contents are twice as good as I learned in art school at college. Whether you've never done character design or you are a pro, this book will change everything for you. And it's super stylish and interesting. You could even just leave it around your house because it looks that good. Look at it. Now, I want to start redesigning my characters by following the lead of this book for next project, without forsaking the manga skills I've developed too. What's it going to look like? No idea. Let's see. In this video, I'm going to use my 10.5-inch iPad Pro and Apple Pencil. These are a bit old, but still works well, so I'm gonna go ahead and use them. I'm also going to use Procreate. This is an art studio app for iPad and it's a one-time purchase. So if you love drawing or painting on iPad, you should consider purchasing it. My goal for this video is to jam Japanese and Western styles of character design and to redesign my The Little Prince characters. In the last episode, I jammed multiple art forms such as reading, calligraphy, and watercolor painting into one. But this time, I'm jamming two different styles or character design theories into one. Japanese characters tend to look aesthetically pleasing, and it's easy to tell that they have a Japanese style. Even though they are drawn in realistic human forms, they don't look like real people. The faces are drawn in a very simple manner, and if you change one feature, especially the nose or lips, the character no longer looks quite right as an anime or manga character. On the other hand, Western character design offers so much freedom that it's not restricted by specific rules. So, to avoid a Japanese-style character design, I first and foremost need to avoid the typical Japanese-style face, especially the nose and possibly the eyes. However, I also need to consider how to integrate other Japanese elements into a Western character design. Fundamentals of Character Design says, research is one of the most important steps of the design process and one that is often overlooked. Most of the time, people rush through it, thinking this will save time. But the reality is usually the opposite. A lot of artists have the misguided belief that researching shows a lack of creativity and is considered cheating, but this is simply not the case. Research and references will help ground your characters in the real world and take your creativity to new levels. So I read The Little Prince again after finishing my first video to better understand each character. I also listed the lines that describe them, so I wouldn't need to rely on the character design in the book. When I was in college, I learned in the character design class that it is important to do shape or silhouette study before creating characters to find interesting shapes for characters. This method is not common in Japanese manga or anime. As far as I know, most Japanese artists already have their preferences and styles of drawing, and they just start drawing after rough sketches. It's because Japanese style is just one, human forms, and there's no need for shape study. With that being said, One Piece is quite unique among all manga. The author draws very creative characters that are not human forms, and he uses many shapes. His character design has a really good balance of Japanese and Western styles. Anyhow, there are three basic shapes that we can use that convey different feelings and emotions. Circles convey constant movement, life and energy, and create a sense of completion, connection, and simplicity. Using round shapes in a design can create feelings of innocence and vulnerability, or show that the character is approachable, friendly, and safe. Triangles convey energy, excitement, and danger. They can be used to create a feeling of anger, tension, and movement. Triangles and sharp angles are often used in creating villainous characters, but they can also be used to symbolize strength and confidence. Square shapes can represent sturdy, steadfast, heavy, and some might say boring personality traits. They don't symbolize anything flashy or exciting. Squares can be used to make a character stubborn, strong, grounded, and confident. I drew a paper full of silhouettes consisting of shapes with different sizes and lengths to find interesting shapes for my characters. I could go on, but I'll stop here for the sake of time. I'll pick one of them for each character and start designing them. According to The Little Prince, the main character, the Little Prince, is described as a most extraordinary small person, never letting go of a question once he had asked it. So I guess he's stubborn. He came from asteroid B612 and he loved sunsets. The Little Prince says, one loves the sunset when one is so sad. So I guess the Little Prince is sad too. The book also says he tossed his golden curls in the breeze. So he has blonde hair and a golden scarf is mentioned as part of what he wears. Additionally, he asks many questions, so I would say he is very curious as well. I want to use circle and square shapes to represent his friendly and stubborn character. In the next project, I want to draw the rose and the fox in human forms just to try something new and fun. The rose is a single very beautiful flower with 4 thorns, the Little Prince said. She was such a proud flower. There's also a line where the rose tells the Little Prince, I want you to put me under a glass globe. It is very cold where you live, so I need to get creative about how to express this line through art. I also get the impression that she's a little bit mean to the Little Prince, so I'm going to use triangle and circle shapes for the rose, because she actually loves him. I think she is tsundere. Tsundere refers to a person who is usually cold and aloof, but becomes affectionate and sweet in certain situations, or to describe someone who exhibits this kind of behavior. The fox seems to be friendly because he's the one who asks the Little Prince to tame him. He is disturbed by humans, his life is monotonous, and he's a little bored. He has a lot of wisdom because he imparts it to the Little Prince. Circle shapes would be great for drawing him to show his friendliness, but I also want to use triangle shapes to represent his origin as a fox. As I said earlier, the faces of characters are very important in this challenge because this video is not about improving my character design skills but jam 1. Again, I want to be very mindful of shapes and not rely on my habits of drawing Japanese manga style eyes. The Little Prince is a child, so the facial features are concentrated around the lower part of the face. Generally, his eyes are bigger than those of adults, or at least drawn that way. I'm aiming to make him look around 9 years old. It would be nice if I could capture both his friendliness and an older brother-like reliability through his expression. With the rose, I want to capture her proud look, maybe like a queen, because she orders the Little Prince to do things for her. Her eyes and lips will be important to her character, since she is a girl or a woman. I haven't been able to decide whether I should draw her as a girl or a woman. Obviously, the age choice will make a huge difference in her character design, but I'll go with the flow and see how she turns out. I've already decided to make the fox an elderly man because he is wise, and I get the impression that he's been observing humans for a long time. He is probably older than the Little Prince anyways because he imparts wisdom to him. I also want to give him a friendly look. Now I've finished drawing each character in 3 different styles. I'm going to pick the best one from each character and refine the designs. One of the useful method fundamentals of character design shares is contrasting forms, which I didn't learn in college. The characters will be much more interesting when their body parts are different lengths and sizes. Contrast is not just vertical but can be horizontal. Japanese characters don't have much contrast in their bodies, so this experiment will be interesting. I want to keep the original designs as much as possible, but be more mindful of contrast and adjust the sizes and balance of the bodies. I really like how the Little Prince's hair and the fox's robe turned out. I like their emotions on their faces and their postures. I feel that they can get along well. I'm not so sure about the rose yet. It's definitely better than the original design and the successful shape-oriented character design, but I don't feel as much accomplishment as with the Little Prince and the fox. For now, let's just go with this design. Wow, I love character design. Even though I lost my passion and hope in the past, this experiment is bringing my joy back. Next, there is one very important step left to finish character design: coloring. Our book says, always ask yourself why you're choosing those colors and how each hue can help your character look or feel a certain way. You can complete a character design in black and white if you prefer, but coloring is essential if you want to make your characters attractive, memorable, and presentable for anime, animation, and cartoons. In real life, our colors are just our random daily styles. In character design, color choices express meaning and character qualities. Keep following me. I promise I'll get better at it one day. I think Bruce suits the little prince well because he is responsible and sad. As he said himself, one loves the sunset when one is so sad. Blue also conveys a magical feeling, hopefulness, and strength. I personally feel that these characters fit him. I want to use purple as the role's main color because the feelings of nobility and mystery match her character. I also want to use some red and green from the roles for accent colors. The fox is a friendly character, so I'm going to use orange as his main color. His aged face already expresses wisdom, so I don't need grays. So instead, I just want to try different colors on him so he can be maximum funky grandpa. No bad result. Compared to the character I showed you first, there's just way more happening, so I'm pleased. I feel like I've got the right idea, but I still have some goals for the final project, like how to express the little prince's separation anxiety, but perhaps most of all, I want to express the smallness and vulnerability of the roles. This time around, her design, especially her facial features, express a slightly adult, seductive nature. I think I fell into a trap of thinking rose equal thorny romance, but that's totally not the trope or the kind of love in The Little Prince. It seems way more platonic, even like he's a protective big brother. Her roseness is in her small fragility within a little protective glass globe, and her thorniness is almost a desperate defensive meanness towards even the little prince. As mentioned, in Japan, we call this cute but thorny girl archetype tsundere, so I want to change her face to capture her character correctly in the final project. Unlike my Japanese manga style characters, which come so easily to me, it's really challenging to jam together these kinds of character designs without putting in a lot of consideration and creativity. This experiment was a lot of fun, and I cannot wait to combine these characters in the next project. Thank you for watching. Wait, almost forgot. In the last video, a viewer in the comment section asked, anyone know how to integrate yoga and painting together? Jamon is a concept that my husband and I came up with. It stands for Jack of all trades, master of one, and it originally came from the phrase Jack of all trades, master of none. My videos are all about how to jam multiple hobbies into a single masterpiece. In the last episode, I experimented with jamming, reading, calligraphy, and watercolor painting. I called this macro jamming, where several distinct practices are jammed together, as opposed to micro jamming, which would be just mixing styles within a practice, like oil and watercolor painting. As you might expect, macro jamming is way more challenging, like jamming yoga and painting together. It'd be easier if it was yoga and dance or something, but painting is very distinct. My first idea was quite straightforward: paint while you pose. But in that case, you'd probably be compromising both your yoga and your painting skills. Ideally, macro jamming elevates each component rather than compromising them, so I had to keep thinking. Here's what I came up with. First, perform your yoga as normal, but visualize and meditate upon whatever beauty comes to mind within your meditative state. Once you're done with the pose, grab your brush and start painting what you visualized during that yoga. Try not to spend too much on painting. Paint carefully, but only for under a minute. As soon as you finish painting, return to your yoga practice and repeat the cycle. Do you see how this can significantly elevate both your yoga and painting experience? Your yogic meditation becomes hyper-focused on creative mental beauty, elevating your state of mind during yoga. And for painting, the inspiration comes from a stream of continuous meditative excellence and heightened bodily calm and focus. Normally, painters can become frantically obsessive while painting, narrowly staring at the canvases and forget to breathe, whereas this method focuses calm consideration and constant resetting of your perspective. It might be challenging if you are used to using references for your paintings, but you may discover your new artistic voice through this method. Or maybe you can jam references into somewhere. Jam 1. If anyone watching wants their hobbies jammed like this one, leave them in the comments and I'll do my best to help jam something for you too. Thank you for watching and see you in episode 3.